Hello and welcome to Microtopia. This is the playtest version of the game, so it might not be representative of the final product. Stuff may change in development, but we are going to take a look at it today. We're going to jump into a new game. There are some options here, but we don't really have any choices. We're just going to leave it all the same and start a new game. Again, this is the playtest version, so there may be stuff that changes between now and release. It is set to release in early 2025. So the first thing we have to do is place a queen ant on our island here. We will pick a spot right here near the iron and the flowers, and we will place her down. You can click once to place it, and then you rotate it and click again to accept it. So this is our nice robot ant flying in. The goal of the game is to create a large robot ant colony. This is our queen ant. She brought us 4 workers. These workers basically live forever. We will send one over here to collect the iron and put a stockpile down for them to place the iron in. It's actually really easy to move stuff in this game. You can just click on it, click on the move button, and we can move it up here. I don't know if you can do that when it has stuff on it, so we will try that later. But for now, let's get that up here. Let's grab our ant and make him bring the iron up to the stockpile here. So that is iron in the stockpile. We can draw a pheromone trail. This will be a trail that the ants follow. We can, as long as we draw it close to the resource, it will stop at the resource and collect it. So we'll just draw a loop down here and put some ants on this to collect some iron. Alright, we can assign this ant to this trail here, so he will basically just follow this loop. He will grab the iron, walk along the loop, and deposit it in the stockpile and continue on that loop. We're going to put several ants on that to get our 10 iron that we need to complete the mission, and go on to our next one, which is basically to build an incubator. Incubator is how we create more ants. The queen ant will produce larvae that we can incubate to make new ants. These ants will have a lifespan of only, I think, 5 minutes. So let's put it down here. We will have to spin it around because it needs to be the other way around, and then draw a path from the back of the queen to the incubator and just make a loop here. It will auto connect to the resources as long as the path is close enough to it. So let's rotate this around, and we can assign this ant to it. She will grab the larva out of the queen and take it over to the incubator, and that will create a new ant for us. Again, this ant will only have a lifespan of 5 minutes, so we need to make sure we continuously feed the queen to produce more ants. So let's just wait till that gets produced. Now we can draw a foraging path up here. This is different than the trail path. The foraging path will stop at the flowers and collect the pollen off of them. That will be then fed to the queen. So let's just draw a path through these flowers here and come back down through here. Now let's go over to the queen, feed the queen, and continue on the loop to collect more pollen. We'll grab some ants from this trail and send them over to get us started. We're going to want to make sure we always have ants on this trail because it is how we produce more ants. So we're going to make sure that this trail is always fully stocked. So they go feed the pollen to the queen here. The queen will put out more larvae. Our little guy here will take him over to the incubator, and now we can draw a path from the end of the incubator over to this path, and that'll send all new ants to the flower path. Next up, we need to smelt some iron. So let's put down an iron smelter next to the stockpile here. It gets built right away. And we can put a stockpile next to it so that we have somewhere to put the smelted iron. And these stockpiles have dispensers on them. You can have one dispenser to start with per stockpile. It has quite a range on it, but it will basically, ants that go next to the dispenser will grab a iron off the stockpile and continue on the path. So let's draw a path over here to the smelter and then to the stockpile, and again we'll make another loop. For now we're just going to have to micromanage these trails and assign ants to them as we need them, remembering that they die every 5 minutes, so we will have to replace this guy every 5 minutes. But he basically smelts iron, puts it on the stockpile, and continues on the loop. Let's see if we can get 2 smelters on this pathway. That'll help speed up the iron. We can delete these paths with the eraser button, and then we can just pull them over here, but it looks like they're going to get stuck because they put 1 piece of iron in the smelter and then wait till it's done. So having 2 on the line isn't going to matter right now. I think we'll unlock a way later to fix that. But for now, let's just continue on. Let's look at building our workshop. Workshop will produce different products. We can have change the recipe on it, but we're going to make basically screws in one and iron plates in the other one. So we'll set a dispenser off the iron pile here. Let's delete this pathway here and get this incubator out of the way. Super easy to move stuff, so let's just grab it, move it down to here. And I think we'll actually put a second one on this pathway since it seems like the ant is carrying larvae around without putting an incubator on. So let's put a second one in here so we can hatch 2 at once. And we'll just grab a path and put them back on the flower path over there. So now with the workshop unlocked, we've unlocked this tool. It is basically a divider. It'll equally divide ants among how many ever paths you create from that point. So right now we just have 2 points, but you could actually create more from it. So one ant will go down that path and then we'll switch it, and the ant will go down the other path. So now we can have 2 smelters operating. Let's put the second workshop in and do something similar over here with the divider. We have one making screws. This one will make iron plates for us. We're actually going to move this dispenser over to here. You can only have one, so it deletes the other one when you move that. But we are going to basically put a divider in, erase all this stuff here. Let's put a divider in so that it is, one comes up this way and goes to this workshop, and then the following one will come down this one and put it in this workshop. That'll help divide up the iron. And we can just grab a path down here, send him up and create a separate loop down here, send him back to the divider so he can go choose his next path, and same way over here. So now we have the iron split up between the 2 workshops, and no one will be waiting on each other. We'll set that recipe to screws, we'll set this recipe to iron plates, and we just have to assign an ant to this trail. We're going to have to micromanage this for a while until we unlock better options to control our ants. They only live for 5 minutes, as you can see there. Send an ant over here, we'll send an ant to this trail over here. Next up, we can actually combine our ants. We've unlocked the combiner, so we can take 2 regular ants and turn them into I think it's a worker ant. So this is the combiner. Let's just set a trail up here that all our ants that get hatched will get sent to this. These ants will have a lifespan of 10 minutes instead of 5 minutes, so that's super handy. Right now you can see in the top left corner of the screen we have a max population of 75. We only have 37 right now, and that is based on how fast you feed the queen. The faster you feed the queen, the more ants you can have, and the faster she will produce larvae. But we're not anywhere near the max right now. So that's our first worker ant done. You can further combine the ants and make them into what is called an inventor ant. That is basically how you get tech tree points and how you do research. So that'll be kind of a super cool concept. We're going to put a divider in here, and we're actually going to put several paths down. We're going to put 3 paths down up to front here, and then we'll put a 4th path over to the inventor. So that means every 4th ant will go to the inventor pile. Kind of a way of managing the ant production right now. And we'll just hook up all these 3 paths to each other, and then send them back up to the main line here. So 3 ants will go to the top pile, and the 4th ant will go to the inventor pile. This is creating our inventor ant right now. There he is. Super cool looking. We need to put down I guess this is like a research lab, something like that. It's an investor pad, I think. Inventor pad, there we go. So let's put down a path to the inventor pad over here. That'll send our inventor ant over to the pod here. Now, in order for him to create research, we have to feed him as well. So we'll put a pathway through these flowers here, just a small pathway, and we will slowly feed him. So let's move this foraging path so that it collects all these flowers here, and then we'll just put a regular trail on the end of it and send him over to the inventor ant. We're going to have to move this because we can't sneak through there, but there we go, we've created a loop, and now we will have research points as soon as we put an ant on this path. We can grab an empty one here, send him over to here, he will grab the pollen and feed it to the inventor ant down here. Once he's fed enough, I think it's like 10 times or something like that, he will create a research point for us. Alright, our inventor ant is all fed, he's full. Let's give him a click. And it's basically a sacrificial ant. We have got 10 points for that and has unlocked the tech tree. We can take a look at it here. This is the tech tree. It is quite large. Look at all this stuff. A crazy amount of material. So that is something to dig into. But we are going to unlock the radar tower. That unlocks these two nodes, which is, this one needs 50 ants to unlock, and that one is for plant fiber. So let's continue to make sure our production lines are full with ants. And let's build the radar tower. Just put it down here next to the rock here. It takes quite a bit of material. We only have 33% of it. It needs 30 energy pods, which we do not have any stockpiled right now. So let's go ahead and fix that. Let's put a stockpile up here near the pollen, and we will delete these paths and make it shorter so that they don't have to go walk all the way back to the queen. They will just drop it off at the stockpile here. We'll just redraw this pathway through the flowers here. Pick up as much energy pods as we can. Drop them off at the stockpile and then loop back around. And then we will grab a dispenser off the stockpile here, put it down near the queen, and that way we won't have to walk all the way down to the queen to deliver the energy pods. We'll just draw a quick path down here, little loop to get them delivering, and put a couple ants on it, and we will be good to go. The ant will be well fed now. And they are dropping off at the stockpile, but it's instantly being used down to the radar tower here, so hopefully the radar tower gets built pretty quickly so we don't lose feeding our queen. Looks like we're stockpiling now, so we got to continue to adjust these iron paths because we burn through the iron pretty quickly. That has completed the radar tower. Looks pretty good. Let's click on it and say make contact. I don't know what that does. Looks like we're trying to communicate with somebody. Now we have these little flying ants all over the place. I don't know what they're all about, but they are everywhere. So it says we were visited by 432 drones. It gives us some statistics about our colony, how many ants we have, how many have died. So that's all good stuff. And this basically says the drones were looking for a young queen to mate with, but they did not find one. So I guess we'll have to see what that is, but we now have a new island we can unlock. Let's click that button. That has revealed a new island up here. It is yellow. I don't know how it says to click an ant in the overview at the left, but I don't see any ants on the left. I don't know. We'll look at that later. But it basically says stockpiles are not shared between islands, so inventory is not global. What's on this island only belongs to this island. If we want to build something on the other island, we will have to harvest materials over there, I guess. Let's put a third incubator in. I think we have enough larvae to keep up with it. Let's jump back into the tech tree here. We have 10 points. We can go ahead and unlock plant cutting. That gives us this one, which we need to collect fiber for, and the counter gate. So let's grab some fiber down here. This is a different path. This is the cutting path. It basically cuts plants on its path. This ant will basically cut down the fiber and put it in the stockpile. This is the counter gate that we unlocked. It's pretty handy stuff. It looks like you can specify how many ants you want on a path, and it'll open and close the gate depending on how many ants are on that path. So we'll definitely try to make use of that in the near future. Like right here, we can put a counter gate in, and basically it'll measure the ants past that point, and we'll set this to, I don't know, just 2, and that way it'll always make sure that there's 2 ants on that path. Let's put another workshop down here. This will make the fabric that we need to finish this mission. We'll select the fabric recipe. It requires 2 fiber, so that's not too bad. Let's grab a dispenser off his stockpile and just draw a path around here and put a stockpile in for the fabric, and we'll get that up and running. So that'll be for the stockpiling fabric, and we just need a path. Just a regular hauling path will do. Again, we'll just make the loop and continue to micromanage our ants for now until we unlock something more useful. Grab the dispenser, put that on the path, and we should be good to go. We just need to get an ant down here. Let's delete this connection here and see if we can figure out a better way to not micromanage our ants. We'll start with a counter gate here. This will be the first one that the ants approach. We will set it to connect into the flower path up here. And we will set this to, I don't know, 15, maybe 12. We'll do 12. That'll make sure there's 12 ants on that path above here. You can see it's highlighted in green above. So it'll make sure there's 12 ants on that green path. If not, they will come down this way, and we will just make a main path that goes past all our other production areas. This is kind of like the equivalent of a factory bus. We'll just bring the ants down the center here and keep them coming all the way down here, and this will basically be our main ant highway. Put it somewhere down here, that should be fine. Then we can go back up here and put in counter gates for each one. So basically the ants will only leave the path if they're not, like we'll put one down to here. We'll set this to 2 ants. So that makes sure there's always ants. You can see the sign's completely white. That means there's already 2 ants on the path. You'll see in a minute that it will not be all white if there's not enough ants on the path. But we'll set 2 ants to this path. And now we won't have to micromanage. The ants will just go down this path, and if there's not 2 ants on it, one will take a turn and go off to that next path. So we'll basically do the same down here. We'll put 2 ants on this path. We'll just work our way down and do this for every production area we have. We'll just do 1 ant there. And finally we have ants down here at the fabric maker. Might as well put one at the end, then I guess if this gate is not open, the ants will just sit there. So right now that's all black because there's no ants on that path. So here comes our first ant. He's going to see this is blocked, so he's going to make a left-hand turn. And he'll come all the way down here, and all these paths are completely full, so he'll make his way down to the fabric. We can put another counter gate in here. Let's set him to 2. You can see that half of it turns black, and as soon as this ant approaches, it turns and closes the path and makes that path full. Let's adjust this to 2. That'll let another ant on the path, and the rest of the ants will just sit down here and wait. Now we can see how many extra ants we have. Let's delete this path that's already empty, so let's grab another cutting path and just set that up over here so that we can harvest these plants instead. We can cross over paths, it's not a big deal. So we have now a 50 ant population, so that unlocks that tech tree. We can unlock the assembler, which unlocks drones, and the small digging ant, which I believe is the mining ant, so that'll be nice. And now we have unlocked the assembler, so I guess we can go ahead and build one of those. It is quite large. It looks like it's another ant machine. So we can put it down here and it needs a dispenser to operate, so it needs a fabric directly connected to it. So we're going to grab a dispenser off that stockpile and come back here, unlock the drones, and that should get the assembler up and running. We can grab this ant, bring him down here. We gotta turn this around because it's backwards. Let's send him in here, and that should turn him into a drone. So now he's a flying ant, and he will be able to go to other islands. So that's pretty cool. That'll give us something to look at next episode. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.